Hey, what's up guys? Alex here. So back with another video on the World Othello Championship 2024. So this championship was actually held in Hangzhou, China. So as part of the rich China heritage and culture, what they actually did this time around for the welcome reception balloting was actually to kind of indicate the table numbers right on the corner of each fan, and they would kind of close up the fan and lay out the fans on the table for basically players to be called up and to kind of pick it on a lot basis. So I did pick up table 8 in black. So yeah, don't mind the spelling on table. I know it's Table for the normal spelling. I think that's some of the probably the slight mistakes that you have administratively when you handle like a huge event. So who I did get in the round one, right? So I wanted to do like a quick round by round analysis. Take you through my thoughts on each game and each move while I play it, if possible. So I'll just try to kind of recall it while it's relatively fresh in my mind. So basically, the round one, I actually got a very young, handsome man from Turkey. I think he's probably more classified as a boy, as a junior player. But at the same time, going into this game, I didn't really know much about Othello in Turkey's context and basically how they're doing or how well they're doing. So it's always kind of difficult to play an unknown player, right? So going into the game, I did not really think too much. And usually when you don't really know your opponent well, you kind of want to play safe. Yeah, so when I started off with black against his white, he played a white diagonal, and then basically I just played the typical book. So what I was guessing is that being a young player and somebody that I don't really have a full understanding of, I kind of feel that if I wanted to kind of capitalize on potentially more discount in a way, I could probably select either the snake variation or the heath variation or even the rotated raccoon dog variation that actually kind of brings the game more towards the edge as soon as possible, so that I could potentially if I meet a weak player, I could probably sweep the disc a little bit more. If I meet a strong player, maybe the game would be fairly balanced. So it's more like a low risk and maybe potentially high return approach on my end. So I played snake move opening g6, and he played this response, which is one of the top three response to snake. So I basically just continued to adopt the approach of being in the center as much as possible, and just regrouping my disc. So the next couple of moves is pretty obvious in terms of regrouping and cutting into center. That's the general approach. So over here, white splits my disc, which is an approach that you should probably do. One approach is to kind of just jump right into b4 to regroup the disc. Another approach for me, I was a little bit more aggressive in terms of I kind of feel that I have enough tempo, so I decided to do d8 because I wanted to just quickly just jump to the edge and probably potentially finish the game off if the opponent makes sufficient number of mistakes. So typically, if you want to gain tempo, you might take e8, but and feed f8. But if you have sufficient tempo, or you reckon that you have sufficient moves, there wouldn't be a need to kind of feed the edge, but rather you should take the edge, given that a standard model to winning in Othello is to kind of centralize, limit your opponent's moves, move to the edges, force them to give up the x squares and corners. So that's basically what I thought to do. And at the same time, I did have one this at c6 to kind of return back to e8 potentially in the future. So but over here I can't play e8, because if I play e8, then white could play potentially g7 and do a corner, like a stoner track to attack the corner. So I had to avoid that. So I just kind of played a6 to potentially gain tempo, or to kind of make him form an unbalanced edge. So he had to take a7 if possible, but he did not take a7. So looking at this response, I did feel like quite comfortable that I was in the lead and I would kind of put this game away. So again, I think Yorganci Mehmet is a relatively young player, so obviously he has a lot of potential to kind of do well. I kind of asked him personally before the game if he loved to play Othello, and he said he liked it. And obviously Turkey is the next country that is hosting the World Othello Championship. I'll be really looking forward to how the Turkey team kind of trains up and prepares to host and also play at the tournaments. So thereafter, I just captured the edge to kind of secure it, knowing that I can take two consecutive moves to a4 and potentially b4 as well. So I thought, yeah, even if white takes f8 to prevent me from being, able to access b4, I still have many options like g3 to kind of cut out the disk, to d6 and to basically, force him on a response either on f3 or g4, both of which would remove the f4 disk, and again the b4 move would then be clean for me again. So it's more like a setup move and then a response, and then with the kind of real intention move. So that's something that I really see among a lot of the top players. If you want to kind of like just cleanly set up the win for yourself, knowing that you have sufficient tempo. So I think that's basically what my approach was, and then to just force him into the x square after the exchange of moves. So over here, white chose to force me the unbalanced edge, but again, taking a2 has no threat, because if white took b7, if I had access to a7, it would just be a quiet move, and I could just take a7 and a8 consecutively, and I'll be able to secure the corner. So again, this was quite a straightforward game for me to potentially push the opponent in to x squares and to give up the corner. So over here was just more about this completing the game securely to get as many discs as possible. And at the same time, I think, if you have the liberty to do it, you probably wouldn't want to kind of wipe out young junior opponents. It doesn't have to always be 64-0. You probably don't want to kind of destroy, your opponent's confidence. At the same time, you don't want to kind of exert too much brain power at round one to potentially, kind of squeeze out every single disc. I think you could probably save the brain power for later opponents potentially. So yeah, so I think that's essentially round one of the World Title Championship 2024 for me. I think besides round one, the rest of my opponents were potentially all challenging thereafter, so I didn't really have a great draw, but at the same time I had a very rewarding pairing to kind of meet so many outstanding players for the rest of the tournament. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me this short video, and please join me in the next one, where I discuss more round by round analysis and hopefully jump into more details. So see you in the next one. Goodbye.